The massive alien research station floated silently in the void, orbiting a distant, cold star. Its sharp metallic structures reflected the faint light like shards of glass. Inside, a crowd of aliens filled the central chamber, their many eyes glinting with curiosity and suspicion. They were not used to visitors, certainly not humans. Yet today, one human stood at the center, restrained but calm, drawing all attention. He was unlike anything the aliens had seen before. Tall, lean, with an air of quiet confidence, he did not struggle or plead. His eyes scanned the chamber without fear, ignoring the alien guards who hovered close. Whispers rippled through the room, alien voices low and cautious. They had captured many species before, but none had behaved like this. "Are you not afraid, human?" The words were cold, mechanical, yet sharp enough to cut the thick tension in the air. A single alien, taller than the rest with ridges along its skull, stepped forward. Its voice carried a strange authority, a mix of menace and curiosity. The human did not flinch. He looked at the alien with calm, steady eyes. Silence fell, heavier than the vacuum outside the station. The crowd leaned in closer, as if expecting some sudden weakness to show. But none came. "Your threats, your weapons, your numbers, they mean nothing to me," the human said quietly, almost to himself. His voice was calm, steady, unshaken. The aliens blinked in confusion. How could one so small, so fragile in appearance, show no fear? One of the smaller aliens hissed through its fangs, disbelief coloring its tone. "He must be bluffing. No human could survive the trials we prepare for." Yet, the human remained still, a slight smile playing on his lips. His calmness was like a mirror, reflecting the alien aggression back at them, unbroken. The whispers grew louder, voices overlapping, a wave of unease spreading through the chamber. He straightened his back and tilted his head, as if considering the question seriously. "Afraid?" he repeated. "Perhaps. But fear is not weakness. It is knowledge, and I know things you do not." The statement sent a ripple of tension across the assembly. The taller alien froze, its multiple limbs hovering uncertainly. A shiver ran down its spine, a strange reaction that no human should have caused. The chamber's temperature seemed to drop slightly, or perhaps it was the collective unease of the aliens themselves. "What could you possibly know?" Another alien hissed, its voice trembling with a mix of doubt and curiosity. It had never seen humans speak with such authority. They were usually loud, chaotic, fearful. Yet this one, he was calm, confident, and now he hinted at secrets the aliens could not guess. The human's eyes scanned the crowd slowly. "You underestimate us," he said, each word deliberate, measured. "You think humans are weak. You think we are predictable, but you do not see the depth of what we can do. You do not see the history behind our patience, the strategy in our silence. You will learn soon enough." The chamber grew quieter. Aliens exchanged uneasy glances, their instincts warning them that this human was unlike any prisoner they had encountered. The tall alien with the ridged skull barked an order, but its voice sounded uncertain. The guards approached, tools in hand, ready to enforce the station's rules, but even they hesitated. It was a subtle hesitation, barely noticeable, but enough to spread doubt. The whispers turned to murmurs, the murmurs to worried chatter. Some aliens in the back leaned closer, whispering warnings to their neighbors. "Do you feel it? Something is wrong," one said. "He is not afraid. He should be." The human's gaze did not waver. He remained calm, almost serene, as if he could read the fears and doubts in the alien minds. He was aware of their unease, feeding on it silently. Yet he gave no indication of malice. His calmness itself was a weapon, a strange, quiet force that unsettled even the most confident aliens. The taller alien with the ridged skull stepped forward again, its voice slightly harsher. "You will stand trial," it declared. "You will face tests. You will show us your strength or die trying." The human nodded, accepting the challenge. "I am ready," he said simply. His calmness did not waver. Even his chains rattled softly around his wrists. The chamber seemed to hold its breath. Aliens who had been confident minutes ago now looked nervous, unsettled, unsure of what they had unleashed by capturing this human. A murmur of fear spread through the assembly. "The human, he is different," one alien whispered to another. "I have never seen such control, such confidence." The leader of a chamber, a massive alien with translucent skin showing glowing veins, watched carefully. Its eyes narrowed. "Proceed with the trial," it said, but even its voice carried a note of caution. "Observe him carefully, every movement, every word. Do not underestimate him." The human straightened his back, his calm aura filling the room. As the leader signaled the start of the trial, the crowd of aliens leaned forward, tension vibrating in the air like an electric charge. They expected fear, weakness, or at least some sign of panic. But there was none, and that silence, that unshakable calm, was far more unsettling than any scream. The trial had begun. The chamber that once felt tense now buzzed with nervous energy. The human had survived the first test of calm, and the aliens were uncertain how to proceed. Their leader, the translucent-skinned alien, motioned to the guards, signaling that the trial would continue. The human was led down a wide corridor lined with alien observers. Their eyes glowed softly in the dim light, reflecting curiosity, fear, and impatience all at once. Every step the human took echoed in the metallic hallway. Yet he walked as if he owned the place, calm, confident, unshaken. They entered the central trial room, a massive circular arena suspended over a pit of glowing plasma. Alien technology surrounded the edges, energy fields, observation panels, and strange weapons embedded into the walls. This was a test designed to push prisoners to their breaking point. Every alien present had seen countless species fail here. None had ever faced a human. A loud voice echoed through the chamber. "Your trial begins now. Survive the arena, and perhaps you will earn our respect. Fail, and your death will be remembered as a warning to all humans." The human looked around, his eyes calm. He studied the arena, noting the patterns of the energy fields, the paths between the traps. The aliens expected fear. They expected panic. But he moved slowly, deliberately, almost as if he were calculating a puzzle rather than facing deadly obstacles. Suddenly, the arena activated. Energy beams shot across the floor like glowing snakes. Mechanical arms swung from the walls, attempting to strike him. The air hummed with danger. Aliens leaned forward in anticipation, sure that fear would finally break him. But the human dodged each trap with surprising agility. He timed his movements perfectly, stepping only when the beams paused, ducking when the arms swung. It was not just speed, it was calculation, strategy, something the aliens did not expect from humans, whom they assumed were reckless and weak. A group of smaller aliens hissed in disbelief. He is predicting the traps. No human could do this." The human did not respond. He focused on the next obstacle, a rotating platform hovering above a pit of glowing liquid. One wrong step, one slip, and he would fall. The platform spun unpredictably, yet he timed his step perfectly, landing safely on the far side. The audience gasped, even the leader's glowing veins pulsing nervously. "Impossible," one alien muttered. "No species can adapt this fast under such conditions." The human paused for a moment, looking up at the observing aliens. His calmness was unnerving. "I do not underestimate danger," he said quietly, "but I also do not fear it. Fear clouds judgment. Confidence clears the path." Some aliens whispered among themselves, uneasy. Others scowled, refusing to admit they were impressed. But a few, smaller ones, leaned closer, curiosity overtaking fear. What was this human? How could he be so composed? Then, the test escalated. A massive door at the far end opened, revealing a cage with glowing creatures inside. They were like nothing the aliens had ever seen, with sharp claws, glowing eyes, and scales that shimmered in the arena's light. These creatures were trained to attack intruders instantly. The human stopped and studied them. The creatures hissed and lunged. He did not panic. He moved with calm precision, dodging the first strike, rolling under the second, using the momentum of the creatures against them. Each move was measured, careful, and effective. The arena echoed with the sounds of clashes and the hiss of energy beams. Aliens in the stands murmured nervously. He is controlling them or predicting them. He is too calm. No one should survive this. The human reached the cage control panel embedded in the arena wall. In a swift motion, he pressed a few buttons. The creatures stopped instantly, frozen as if under a spell. He did not gloat. He merely stepped back, his expression calm, his breathing even. The arena fell silent. Aliens exchanged wide-eyed glances. The leader's glowing veins pulsed faster, a clear sign of nervousness. The human had survived the first full trial, without fear, without hesitation, without injury. "Remarkable," muttered one alien, a low-ranking observer. "I have never seen a being react to danger with such control." The human looked up at the watching aliens and spoke again. "Your traps are clever. Your creatures are strong. But I have faced worse. I have survived the impossible. And I will survive this too." The tension in the room became almost unbearable. The aliens had expected fear, terror, screaming, chaos. Instead, they found calm, confidence, and a strange certainty that the human would endure. The leader's eyes narrowed. "He is not like the others," it hissed. "He is unpredictable." The human did not hear it. He was focused on the next challenge, the far side of the arena, where the final test awaited. A series of floating platforms hovered above the pit, shifting constantly, changing their paths. One wrong step meant death. But he stepped forward slowly, calculating, confident, ready. As he moved across the floating platforms, the observing aliens realized something terrifying. They could not predict him. Every trap, every obstacle, every danger he encountered, he faced with calm precision. The murmurs of fear grew louder. Some aliens in the back even began to step away, as if the human's presence alone was dangerous. The human reached the final platform, standing tall, unharmed, breathing evenly. The arena had been designed to kill, to instill terror. Yet he remained untouched, unfazed, composed. The alien's whispers turned to outright fear. The trial was far from over, but one thing was clear. This human was unlike any creature they had ever faced. And the seeds of doubt had been planted, doubt that would grow into fear as the trial continued. The arena had fallen silent after the human's flawless performance. The aliens were still whispering, their multiple limbs trembling with a mix of disbelief and fear. For the first time, many realized that this human was not just brave. He was something entirely unexpected. The leader, translucent-skinned and massive, gestured toward the next stage of the trial. "This is your final test," the leader's voice echoed. "If you survive, you will prove your species is more than a simple threat. Fail, and your legacy will end here." The human's eyes narrowed slightly, calm and steady. "I do not fear your challenges," he said simply. "Show me what you have prepared." The chamber's walls slid open, revealing a vast, dark expanse. The floor beneath him vanished, replaced by a floating platform suspended over a deep pit of glowing plasma. Energy barriers twisted above him like snakes, shifting unpredictably. The walls projected moving holograms of alien creatures, each designed to simulate deadly attacks. The human stepped onto the platform without hesitation. His boots clinked lightly against the metal, echoing softly. The aliens leaned forward, watching intently, certain he would falter here. Suddenly, the holograms surged to life. The simulated creatures lunged toward him, claws extended, teeth bared, eyes glowing. Lasers shot from above, following him as if anticipating his every move. The human moved swiftly, dodging, ducking, and leaping, but there was no panic in his eyes. Each movement was precise, calculated, almost like a dance. The aliens murmured nervously among themselves. "He predicts them. He anticipates every strike." One hissed, voice trembling. Another added, "It is impossible for a human to react this fast." Yet the human did not stop. As he reached the first set of platforms, a mechanical arm swung out suddenly, aiming to knock him into the plasma below. Without hesitation, he grabbed the edge of the platform and flipped himself over, landing perfectly on the next floating surface. The leader's glowing veins pulsed faster, signaling rising tension. The aliens realized they had underestimated him. What they thought was fearlessness was something else: experience, intelligence, and the ability to adapt under extreme danger. Impressive, the human muttered quietly, almost to himself, yet loud enough for the nearest observers to hear. But I am not finished yet. A sudden roar echoed through the chamber. From the shadows above, massive alien constructs descended, their limbs bristling with sharp blades. The human froze for a brief second, analyzing the pattern of their movement. Then, in a smooth motion, he rolled under the first strike, sidestepped the second, and ducked just in time as the third one lunged forward. The aliens gasped. Many took a step back, unable to process what they were seeing. One of the smaller aliens whispered, "No species should survive this, no species but a human." The human reached a control panel, suspended mid-air, pulsing with energy. He extended his hand, carefully pressing a few buttons. Instantly, the constructs froze, their movements halted. The human leapt gracefully onto a stable platform above the pit, untouched and calm. "Predictable technology," he said softly, scanning the floating arena. "You rely on patterns, assumptions. You forget that intelligence and observation can overcome even the deadliest traps." A wave of tension swept through the chamber. Even the leader leaned forward, unsure whether to be impressed or fearful. The murmurs turned into low hissing sounds, alien equivalents of panic. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the arena. The floating platforms began to shift violently, moving in ways that the human had not yet calculated. Holograms of alien creatures multiplied, now surrounding him from every angle. It was the final challenge, the culmination of everything the aliens had prepared. The human's eyes flicked from one obstacle to the next. He took a deep breath, centering himself. Then, with calm precision, he moved. Step by step, dodge by dodge, he navigated the chaotic platforms. He used the energy of the shifting surfaces to propel himself, turning potential danger into advantage. One alien in the observation chamber whispered shakily, "He sees the patterns. He is not just surviving. He is controlling the chaos." And in a way, he was. Every movement, every step, every decision seemed to bend the trial to his will. The holograms, the traps, even the shifting platforms, all of them were neutralized by his observation, intelligence, and composure. Finally, he reached the edge of the arena. One leap, and he would land on solid ground. Without hesitation, he jumped. The aliens gasped as he soared through the air and landed flawlessly. Not a scratch, not a stumble, not a falter. Silence followed. The aliens stared at him, wide-eyed, their own fear slowly replacing the arrogance they had brought into the chamber. The human stood tall, breathing evenly, unshaken. "You underestimate humans," he said calmly, his voice carrying across the room. "You see us as weak, chaotic, insignificant. But we endure, we adapt, and we survive where others fail." The leader's glowing veins pulsed rapidly. For the first time, a clear tremor of fear showed in its posture. Some aliens backed away, whispering in fear. The human's calmness, his precision, his intelligence, these were not just unusual traits. They were warnings. The trial had pushed him to the limits, yet he had not only survived, he had thrived. And the aliens knew, deep in their instincts, that this human was different. More than brave, more than clever, dangerous in ways they could not yet comprehend. The human looked toward the observing crowd, calm and composed. "This is only the beginning," he said quietly. And with that, the aliens realized the full truth. Humans were not just another species. They were a force the galaxy had yet to understand. The human stepped out of the arena, his movements calm, yet every alien in the observation chamber felt the weight of his presence. Whispers filled the air, some fearful, some curious. The leader, its translucent veins glowing more intensely than ever, motioned for the next stage to begin. "You have survived our tests," the leader said, its voice echoing through the chamber. "But survival alone is not enough. You must now reveal the reason for your audacity. Tell us why humans are different. Explain your power." The human's gaze swept across the room. "You do not understand humanity," he said quietly, each word deliberate. "You see our strength as luck. You see our resolve as arrogance. But there is more, knowledge that you cannot grasp." The aliens leaned forward, some skeptical, some wary. Knowledge? What knowledge could a human possibly hold that would challenge their advanced technology, their vast intelligence networks? "You wish to see proof?" the human asked. Without waiting for a response, he reached into a small device on his belt, a compact, strange-looking object the aliens did not recognize. He activated it, and a hologram projected above the chamber floor, showing star maps, signals, and patterns of the galaxy that no alien could have predicted. The leader's multiple eyes widened. How does he know this?" it hissed. The hologram displayed secret trade routes, patrol paths, and even the locations of hidden alien outposts across several systems. The aliens gasped collectively. "This is only a fragment of what humans know," the human continued, his voice calm but firm. "We have observed you for centuries. We have studied every movement, every pattern, every weakness. You underestimate patience, planning, and strategy. You underestimate humanity." Some of the smaller aliens began to whisper among themselves. "He knows things only the Council should know. But how?" The human's calm demeanor did not waver. He turned toward the leader, his eyes piercing. "Your trials, your weapons, your technology, they are impressive. But none of it matters if you do not anticipate what you cannot see. Knowledge and patience are stronger than brute force." The leader's glowing veins pulsed rapidly. "Do you threaten us, human?" it hissed, voice sharp. "No," the human replied softly. "I'm simply informing you. You cannot contain humans with fear or force. That is a mistake you must correct before it is too late." Panic began to spread among the observing aliens. Some stepped back, fearful, whispering to each other. The human's calm authority seemed to infect the room, making even the bravest feel uneasy. They had expected fear, obedience, maybe even desperation. Instead, they felt the presence of a being they could not control, a being they could not predict. The human continued, showing more holograms, images of alien battles, failed missions, and strategic vulnerabilities across their empire. Every display caused murmurs of shock and disbelief. Even the leader, who had remained composed until now, struggled to hide a flicker of fear. "You see," the human said, his tone calm but commanding, "your empire relies on assumptions, on technology, on control. But you forget one thing. Humans adapt. Humans endure. Humans learn. And humans will survive anything you throw at them." The room was silent for a long moment. Every alien present felt the weight of his words. Fear was no longer just a reaction. It was a realization. The human standing calmly before them had just demonstrated the limits of their understanding. Then, without warning, the human moved toward the central console of the chamber. With precise gestures, he began to manipulate the holograms, rearranging the star maps and altering the displays. Aliens leaned forward in panic. How could one human manipulate so much alien technology with such ease? "This is only a demonstration," he said. "Imagine what humans could do if we chose to act. Imagine the consequences if we no longer remained silent observers." Some aliens turned pale, their forms shimmering with nervous energy. Others whispered urgently to neighbors, seeking advice, seeking reassurance. But there was none. The human had shattered their expectations. He had introduced doubt into their ranks, doubt that could grow into fear and chaos. The leader stepped forward, its voice trembling slightly. "Enough. We will not be threatened by one human. You will follow the final protocol." The human did not flinch. Instead, he smiled faintly. "I'm not threatening you. I'm telling you the truth. You cannot control what you do not understand. You cannot intimidate what refuses to fear. You cannot survive what you ignore. A murmur swept through the assembly. The human had spoken a reality that no alien had dared to admit aloud. Some turned away, shaking, uncertain how to proceed. Others exchanged frightened glances, realizing the empire they relied on so heavily was vulnerable, far more vulnerable than they had ever admitted. The leader's glowing veins pulsed rapidly. For the first time, it appeared hesitant. It was aware that this trial had gone far beyond mere tests. The human had shown intelligence, strategy, and calm in the face of danger. Now, he had shown knowledge that threatened to unravel everything the aliens believed about humans. The human took a slow step back, his calm presence dominating the chamber. "This is the way of humans," he said softly. "We endure, we observe, we adapt. And if provoked, we act." The aliens whispered nervously, the weight of his words sinking in. Even the leader knew that the human was no ordinary being. For the first time, doubt and fear began to take root. And the human's calm, steady gaze promised that this was only the beginning. The trial was no longer just about survival. It had become a revelation, a warning that humans were more than they appeared. And the aliens, for the first time, realized they had underestimated an entire species. The chamber still buzzed with whispers, a mix of fear and awe. The human had survived every trial, demonstrated unmatched skill, and revealed secrets that shook the alien council to its core. Yet the trial was not over. The leader, translucent veins glowing brighter than ever, stepped forward. "You have impressed us," it said, its voice cautious. "But understanding our knowledge and surviving our trials is not enough. You must prove you can influence the galaxy itself." The human tilted his head slightly, a small smile playing on his lips. "Influence?" he asked softly. "Then show me what you fear most." A sudden alarm sounded, echoing through the station. Alien guards scrambled to their positions. The holographic displays in the chamber shifted, showing star systems under alien control. The human's eyes narrowed as he scanned the information. "You rely on fear and intimidation to control your colonies," he said. "But fear can be turned. Control can be challenged. And patience can defeat you." Without warning, the human activated the small device on his belt once more. Holograms flashed across the chamber, revealing secret messages and hidden communications from the alien fleets. Aliens gasped as their private strategies, patrol patterns, and resource routes appeared in full view. "This is only a fragment of what humans know," the human said calmly. "Imagine if Earth chose to act. Imagine the consequences if humans no longer observed silently." Some of the smaller aliens began to murmur nervously. "He knows too much. He can predict our moves," one whispered. Another added, "He is not just clever, he is dangerous." The human walked slowly toward the center of the chamber, his gaze sweeping over the alien assembly. "You have underestimated us for centuries," he said. "You believed humans were weak, predictable, insignificant. But patience and knowledge are our weapons. Observation and strategy are our strength. And now you see the truth." A ripple of fear spread through the crowd. Some aliens shuffled nervously, uncertain how to respond. Even the leader's glowing veins pulsed faster, a clear sign of apprehension. Suddenly, the floor beneath the human shifted, revealing a control platform connected to the entire station. It was a dangerous maneuver, designed to test prisoners further. Yet he stepped confidently onto it, his calm presence dominating the room. "You will no longer see me as a simple human," he said. "I'm a warning, not a threat. A lesson, not an enemy. But if you provoke us, you will witness what humans can do when they choose to act." The leader's multiple eyes widened. "Enough," it hissed. "Do not overstep. You are still a prisoner." The human shook his head slowly. "I am no prisoner. I am proof." He gestured toward the holographic displays. "Your fleet, your colonies, your strategies, they are visible to me. Your mistakes are visible. And your empire is not invincible." Panic began to ripple through the assembly. Some aliens whispered frantically to their neighbors. Others attempted to recalibrate their control systems, but the humans' calm confidence seemed to interfere with their technology. Small errors appeared, machines misfiring, systems stuttering, as if reacting to the humans' presence. The leader's voice trembled slightly. "This cannot be. One human cannot." "Watch," the human said softly, his voice steady, commanding. With a few precise gestures, he activated the station's communication network. Signals once secure now flowed into the holographic displays. Alien fleets across distant star systems appeared, some in confusion, others halted mid-operation. The human had accessed them all, without force, without aggression, simply by understanding the patterns. The aliens in the chamber gasped, realizing the full scope of what was happening. Their empire, so confident and advanced, was vulnerable. One human, calm and intelligent, had turned their own systems against them, not with weapons, but with knowledge and observation. "You see now," the human continued, stepping closer to the leader, "humans do not need to strike first to be dangerous. We observe, we adapt, and we act only when necessary. But when we do, the consequences are unavoidable." Fear rippled visibly through the assembly. Some smaller aliens attempted to retreat, realizing that the humans' calm authority was more threatening than any weapon. Others whispered frantically among themselves, debating whether to obey or flee. The leader, glowing veins pulsing violently, stepped forward. "This is not just skill. This is influence. You have changed the course of this trial, and perhaps more than the trial itself." The human nodded slowly. "I have only shown a glimpse of human capability. The galaxy has underestimated us for too long. That ends now." The aliens were silent, their collective fear palpable. The human's calm confidence, his intelligence, and his ability to turn their own systems against them had shifted the balance. No one doubted now that humans were not just survivors. They were strategists, observers, and masters of patience. And in that silence, one thing became clear. The human was no longer simply participating in the trial. He was leading it. Slowly, inexorably, he had taken control, not with violence, but with understanding, calm, and intellect. The leader's voice trembled. Perhaps we have underestimated your species. Perhaps humans are different." The human's gaze swept across the room, calm and unwavering. "We are different, and you will learn that difference the hard way if you continue to ignore it." The aliens whispered, fearful, unsure of what would happen next. The human had survived, adapted, and now demonstrated the ability to influence the empire itself. The trial had become a revelation, a warning that humanity was not to be underestimated. And in the quiet tension of the chamber, every alien realized one simple truth. They had never faced anything like this before. The chamber was silent. The human had survived every trial, demonstrated unmatched intelligence, revealed hidden knowledge, and even influenced the alien empire's own systems. The observing aliens, once confident, now trembled with uncertainty and fear. Even the leader, its translucent veins glowing intensely, seemed hesitant for the first time in centuries. "You have survived, human," the leader said, its voice quivering. "But tell us, what is your purpose? Why have you endured? Why have you shown us your power?" The human's calm eyes swept across the assembly. He took a slow step forward, his presence commanding attention, his voice steady and unwavering. "Purpose?" he asked softly. "My purpose is simple: to show you that humans are not weak, to prove that fear is useless against knowledge, patience, and adaptability, and to remind you that you do not control the galaxy." Gasps echoed through the chamber. The aliens had never heard such words spoken by one being, especially a human. Some whispered frantically to their neighbors. Others shook visibly, unable to process the calm authority emanating from him. "Enough talk," the human said, raising his hand. "It is time you truly understand." With a few precise gestures, the holographic displays shifted once more. Star systems lit up across the galaxy, showing human fleets, hidden Earth installations, and coordinated strategies. Alien fleets, once confident in their patrols, now appeared frozen, their positions exposed. The aliens gasped. They realized that the human had not only survived the trials, he had turned their own technology and knowledge against them, without firing a single shot. The leader's voice trembled. You cannot." "Yes, I can," the human interrupted softly but firmly. "You assumed humans were weak. You assumed we could be intimidated. You assumed fear and force would keep us contained. All wrong. Humanity observes, adapts, and acts precisely when it must." Suddenly, the human activated the control console fully. Alien systems began to malfunction, communication scrambled, and energy fields wavered. Panic rippled through the alien assembly. The human had not attacked, but his understanding of their systems had given him power over them. They were exposed, vulnerable, and entirely unprepared. The leader glared at him, frustration and fear flickering in its multiple eyes. "You threaten the Empire itself, human." "I do not threaten," the human said. "I reveal. I show the truth. Humans are not to be underestimated. You have spent centuries believing yourselves supreme. But one human, calm, patient, and observant, can challenge what you thought untouchable." The aliens murmured in alarm. Some tried to regain control of their systems, but each attempt failed. The human had anticipated their moves, and every countermeasure only revealed more of their weaknesses. Fear spread like a virus. Whispers turned to shouts. The Empire, confident and vast, seemed fragile under his calm, calculated gaze. The human walked slowly to the center of the chamber. His calm aura dominated the room, suffocating in its intensity. "Your empire relies on assumptions," he said, "but assumptions are fragile. Predictions are unreliable. And control is an illusion." The leader's glowing veins pulsed violently. "Stop! You cannot." The human raised his hand, and a sudden silence fell. Not a sound, not a whisper. Every alien froze, their instincts screaming that something monumental was about to happen. "You underestimated humans," he said softly. "You assumed we were weak, fearful, insignificant. But the galaxy itself has underestimated our patience, our intelligence, and our will to survive. That ends now." The human pressed a final sequence on the console. Holographic displays expanded to show the entire alien empire. Star systems blinked red where errors, vulnerabilities, and weak points were exposed. Alien fleets were paralyzed. Strategic positions crumbled under observation alone. The assembly gasped in horror. Their empire, built on centuries of power, seemed suddenly fragile. One human had revealed what no alien had ever considered: the fragility of their empire, the danger of underestimating humans, and the reality that patience and intelligence could topple them without a single weapon fired. The human's voice rang through the chamber, calm but commanding. "This is the human way. We endure, we observe, we adapt. And when we act, the results are inevitable. Remember this day. Remember the human who never feared, who never wavered, who never lost control. Humanity is not weak. Humanity is not insignificant. Humanity is unstoppable." The aliens trembled, whispers turning to cries of alarm. The leader's glowing veins pulsed faster, signaling panic. Even the council members in the back shivered. One by one, they realized the truth. The human had not just survived. He had revealed the limits of their empire, the weakness in their pride, and the danger of underestimating an entire species. And then, as the humans stepped back, the room fell silent. The trials had ended. The revelation had been made. The aliens stared, stunned, fearful, and uncertain of what would happen next. The human had not fought with weapons, not with brute force, yet his calm authority, knowledge, and strategic brilliance had shaken the empire to its core. The leader whispered, almost to itself, We underestimated them." The human turned slowly, his calm eyes sweeping the chamber one last time. "Never again," he said quietly. Then, without another word, he walked toward the exit, Every alien present understood. The galaxy would never see humanity the same way again. The doors closed behind him. Silence filled the chamber. The Empire, vast and powerful, had faced a single human and discovered the true meaning of fear, patience, and intelligence. And from that day onward, every alien would remember the human who was never afraid.